Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of Cosplay with Rainer. And as you can tell from the title of the video down here, as well as the thumbnail, we can actually see that we're taking a step back from the Kid Project video, and we're going to start with something that this channel's well known for to begin with. But with the 10-year anniversary of Star Wars The Force Awakens coming up around this month that was being recorded, I actually thought I'll show you on how to make a costume component that's based on that movie.
Yeah.
And that is by showing you how I'm going to mod these Funtasma Walker boots into a set of Kylo Ren boots field cosplay. The reason being is why I'm actually doing this video, because for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you would remember that I actually did a series of votes a while back on which one of you guys would like me to do a tutorial of next. Like some of you would actually vote for the boots, whereas some of you would either vote for the Part 8 or the Part 6 Jason Voorhees masks. And to my surprise, these boots actually got the most votes, so that's what we're going to be doing in this video. I also like to give a massive shout out to the guys and the members over the Kylo Ren cosplay group on Facebook, which I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to sign up and follow some tips and tricks like what I did. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. Okay, so here are the Funtasma Walker boots, which is how they look like before the project. And as you can see, they look pretty much good on its own. Most people would just use them for their episode 3 Anakin Skywalker style cosplays. But we're just going to be converting them into some Kylo Ren boots. And it's a pretty simple process from my experience. And I would show you the methods that I actually follow along here, so stay tuned. So the first step on this project is we're going to have to be disassembling the whole boot. Not the whole boot entirely, but also removing the front panel and the straps so you have a nice blank canvas to work with. The front panel we are planning to recycle later on down the track. And as for the straps that are originally holding it in place, very carefully remove the seams onto where the zip is made. Also, if you're going to do the exact same methods that I'm doing here, unlike using a seam ripper, make sure to exercise caution while using a box cutter, because you don't want to lose a finger or two. Otherwise, how else are you going to watch the rest of my videos? Afterwards, now we're going to move on to the next step. For this step, we are going to mark, trace, cut and sew a loop that is about 2.5 centimeters away from the loop that's on the very bottom of where the boots are. This will give you the right placement on where to put one of the straps, which is also seen on Kylo's actual boots. And once we got that all sorted, I'll take out my trusty sewing machine and sew the loop sealed, and we shall have ourselves a nice strap loop for our boots. Also, whenever you're sewing pleather or leather like what I'm doing here, it's important to know you have to make sure you've got the right needles, the right foot, and most importantly, the right thread for the job. Also, another important thing to know, whenever you're sewing a straight line, be sure you do a lock stitch in the start, go straight forward, and then end it with another lock stitch just to finish it off. This is just to be sure that your stitches won't come apart later on down the track. And speaking of straps, that's what we're going to be tackling in this video. For the buckles, which I'll leave a link down in the description below, I just gave them a coat of sandblack spray paint and gave them a big spritz before dabbing away the excess with a brush. This is supposed to emulate the gunmetal appearance, which I have noticed on one of my reference photos on Kylo's boots. And also, while that's done, be sure to let it dry before we move on to the very next step. And as for the straps themselves, be sure to measure for the straps while wearing the boot, just so you can have a rough measurement on what you're working with. And as you're measuring, be sure to add an extra 4 inches apart, so not only we have something extra to sew the buckles in, but also some extra space for you to adjust it while wearing it. And once your buckles are fully dry, grab one of the straps that you have just measured and do the same sewing technique as we did with the loops on the back of the boot, like straight forward and lock stitches on forward and back to make sure they won't go in anywhere. For the panel, I'm actually cutting off one of the panels on each side, as Kylo's boots in the film has 4 panels rather than 6 that you would find on Anakin's boots. Once those panels are cut off, you may notice that some of the edges are actually lifting off slightly. So for that, I'm just going to grab a tube of some cheap and nasty and rejoin them back together so it all looks like it's all in one piece. Make sure all the edges around the boots have been glued in place so it all looks like it's all in one piece. Before we move on to the next step, be sure to mark out the bottom of where the lower strap meets, cut off the excess, and we'll see what goes from there. And just like what we did with the sides of the boots, be sure to glue in the sides together to make sure there's no gaps sticking out. The next step that we had to do, and this is way before that we cut off the excess on the bottom, is you had to mark out the sides on the boots on where the panel will be glued in place. Be sure whenever you glue it into place, make sure all the seams are tight and make sure they fit around the boot before you mark and glue them into place. One of the final steps that we actually had to do in this project is to adjust all the buckles into the correct order, making sure they're nice and firm but not too tight. And once we get to that stage, you might want to cut off the excess in more of a slight angle, like how Kylo boots were in the film. And after all that, I think it's about time we get a full good review, shall we? And there you have it. With the items that I have listed throughout the video and the tips and tricks that I've actually shown, you should be able to replicate a fairly accurate pair of boots for your Kylo Ren cosplay. Although I'm pretty happy on how well these came out, and I'm so excited to show you sometime down the future when I put together my Kylo Ren cosplay, which I'm not only show you what parts I use, but also how I sew the rest of the garments. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram for any tips and tricks, including the votes for any upcoming tutorials. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video, and have a Merry Christmas.